Welcome to Z True Tales.
There was a quiet village nestled on the edge of a dense forest, where a widow lived with her two daughters. The eldest daughter, Clarice, is just like her mother in temperament, a picture of harsh, arrogant, and selfish, while little Maria was a reflection of her late father's gentleness and love, patient, compassionate, and soft-hearted. Their house was quite simple, beehives and a small garden along the walls. Maria planted herbs there every day, and she took care of the wild flowers with her heart. Despite the poverty, there was a strange sweetness in the house, the scent of herbs, and as the sun sinks behind the mountains, the entire environment was bathed in golden color. But despite this simplicity and beauty, harmony within the home was often rare. The widow was overly affectionate with her eldest daughter. She wanted him so much, and that love included this blindness, that he never saw any fault in Clarice. He was always showered with compliments, and every transgression was easily forgiven. From clothes to small things, she found everything to be the best, even if she was upset about the slightest thing. In contrast, Maria always lived in simplicity. His clothes were worn, the edges were frayed, and his arms were disheveled. All the household chores were his responsibility: filling water, washing clothes, cooking, lighting a winter fire, and keeping every room clean. And whenever his mother called him, that tone was always harsh, bitter, and ruthless. "Don't get lost in your dreams, Maria." His mother's scolding was as harsh as ever. "If you stay in the air like this, you'll be a maid for the rest of your life." But no answer ever came to Maria's lips. She knew her gentleness was her only weapon. It was a heavy summer afternoon. The sun was spreading like strong waves over the fields, and the wind was blowing hotly. In such a situation, the widow realized with annoyance that the water in the house had run out. "Maria, go immediately to that old well in the garden. Take the biggest pitcher, and hurry." The well was a mile away. "The path is full of dry bushes and spiky grass." But Maria didn't say a word. She picked up the pitcher, tied a handkerchief on her head, and set off. The buzzing of bees floated in the air. His body was shivering from the heat, but the steps were strong. As he reached the well, his arms began to shake from exhaustion. He filled the bucket and filled the pitcher. "I sat on the shore for a moment, just breathing." That suddenly a soft, trembling voice was heard. "My daughter, will you give me some water? I am very thirsty." An old woman stood with trembling hands. "Sure, Mom," Maria said immediately. He lowered the bucket into the well again. He purified the water and, with great respect, filled a pitcher and presented it to the old woman. The old woman drank every sip with gratitude. "My child, there is less kindness in people now. You have won the heart of a stranger." Suddenly, the old woman's eyes filled with light. Its shape began to change. "He is no longer a beggar. Rather, it was a fairy shining like moonlight. Don't be afraid, girl. You have done good from the heart. Every word that comes out of your lips from today, it will fall like a flower or a precious gem. This is a gift from your pure heart. Now speak carefully, and always truthfully." The fairy disappeared like mist. Maria picked up the pitcher and reached the house with nervous steps. His mother and sister were waiting in great anger. "Why did you fall asleep? Come on, give me some water." "Sorry, Mom." As soon as he said that, a diamond and a rose fell from his lips to the ground. Mother's eyes widened in surprise. "Where did this come from? Tell me right away." Maria told the whole story, and with every gentle word, it began to rain pearls, sapphires, diamonds, and delicate flowers. The widow went mad with greed. "Claire, go to the well immediately. Do exactly what Maria did. Understand? We will be twice as rich." Clarice was deeply disgusted by the idea of walking in the sun, but when he saw the shining jewels on the table, his greed was aroused. She kept muttering all the way to the well. The heat, the dust, the exhaustion, all were making him angry. Upon reaching the very well, the same fairy appeared, this time as a royal princess. "Baby, can I have a sip of water?" Clarice looked him up and down with a disgusted look. "I didn't come here to be a maid. If you are thirsty, fill your own water." The fairy nodded silently. "You have shown hardness of heart, so you will get the same. What you hold in your heart." Clarice hadn't even finished speaking, that a frog jumped from his lips. Then another, then a snake, then screams. "Poison." But Clarice could not stop. Her anger was not going to stop. Another crawling or echoing sound. The room was full of frogs. It was full of snakes and twigs. The widow also returned home screaming in despair. She ran to the courtyard. "It was all because of you. You have cursed your sister. Get out. You have brought disaster on your sister and me. Go, get out now." The sun was just beginning to set. Marianne left the house, drenched in tears. She walked towards the forest with her eyes closed. But not far from the road was a magnificent little carriage drawn by white horses. And on its door was the royal seal of the emperor. The prince had just returned from hunting. It was over. When he saw a girl walking alone, he ordered the coachman to stop. "Are you in any trouble, young lady?" "Yes, no problem, my lord, only sorrow." And as she spoke, pearls and lilies fell from her mouth. She got out of the carriage and spoke to him. Her voice was like the song of birds. She was soft as a lily, and every word she said, beauty was all around her. Petals in the air, jewels sparkling in the light. The prince became famous. He went. "Come with me. Save my father from this criminal. I must meet him whose words are jewels." Maria hesitated, but there was something honest and kind in his eyes. He made me believe him in the carriage. She got into the carriage and drove towards the royal palace. Done. The king and queen received her in the grand hall. And when he bowed and welcomed her, I saluted. Diamonds rolled on the marble floor. Done. What reward would be appropriate for such kindness? If he accepts me, father, then it is his. There will be a reward. The king studied the girl for a long time. I did. Then I nodded. So be it. The woman whose words are flowers, let's bring it. It will surely make the kingdom prosperous. And thus Marianne became the bride of the prince. Her wedding dress shone like the moon. And whenever she spoke, her path was strewn with flowers. People would be ashamed of her kindness, wanting a happy and radiant smile. The situation in the village was alarming. I found no peace in my bitterness. She had collected jewels, they were her friends. After her daughter left, it began to become colorless and useless. As for Claire's, no one dares. I could not speak to her. The animals that come out of her scare people and they drive her away with hatred. Even her mother finally could not bear it. "You have brought shame and trouble to both of us. Leave this house and never come back." Chinchanch Claire's is crying and cursing in the forest. I ran away. But every damned frog and that snake she brings. She is both helpful and unfriendly. Keep wandering. Until he finally disappears from the world. Some people still say that that unfortunate girl wanders in the forest. The croaking sounds of frogs and the hissing of snakes echo along the paths. It's as if the curse of his tongue still lingers. The widow's greed also eventually brought about the end of her lot. She was left alone, created by her own greed, worthless and insignificant. In the middle of a pile of jewelry. One cold night she sat by the stove. And the next morning his lifeless body was found there. Time passed. Led by the prince and his angelic-hearted queen, the empire prospered. The table was open for the poor. Love and care for the palace spread in every direction. Whenever the queen spoke, her words were like light and fragrance. It would rain on people's hearts. Her soft words are like flowers and precious jewels. It would scatter in the air. Even the children of the kingdom grew up in his love. Humble, generous, and wise. The angel who had blessed him never appeared again. But the queen often in quiet moments, feeling his presence. Like the faint scent of roses floating in the air. "You didn't just change my life," she often said to the prince. "Rather, it has spread the light of kindness throughout the world." It is true. Beauty fades, wealth disappears. But a good, kind heart, he is always spreading light.